Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, all Bitcoin holders need to be paying attention to this important line of support. Also, we are continuing to see tens of millions of dollars close out of long positions and enter into short positions. This is important to pay attention to. So I'll be covering all of that and more in this video, so make sure you're sticking around to the end so that you don't miss out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the daily time frame, and we've got the Fibonacci retracement tool drawn from the July low up to the all-time high. And by the way, this is on the logarithmic scale, which is why it might look different compared to your chart if you've got your chart on the linear scale. But anyway, what we have here is the most important Fibonacci level, the golden pocket, starting at close to 40,000 US dollars, and it actually goes down towards 39,500 because of course the golden pocket is a price range in between the 65% level and the 61.8% Fibonacci level. So basically, Bitcoin just needs to hold above 39,500, which was the September low, by the way, in order to hold this Fibonacci level, which would obviously be good to see for the bulls. But obviously, if we see a break below 39,500, then that would mean the Bitcoin price is putting in a new macro lower low, because obviously we're breaking below the September low. And not only that, we'll be breaking below the golden pocket here on the logarithmic scale. And in a potential scenario like that, the next Fibonacci level to the downside is the 78.6% Fibonacci level, coming in the mid $30,000 price range. So that is why I was just saying it's obviously going to be very good for the bulls if we simply hold above the golden pocket here and hold above that September low. And that is not only because of that important Fibonacci level, but it's also because of this fractal on the daily time frame for Bitcoin. Basically, what we have here is two separate patterns that resemble a head and shoulders pattern. But what happened last time back in June and July 2021, pretty much everyone in the market was looking at this head and shoulders pattern, and there was a lot of panic in the market entering into this zone right here. And so because of the fact that the majority of the market at that stage was flipping very bearish on Bitcoin and entering into short positions, that was simply a signal to us that the Bitcoin price was basically bottoming out at that stage and getting ready to squeeze out all of those short positions from the market. And right now, we're basically seeing a somewhat similar situation. Of course, it's important to mention that nothing in these markets is guaranteed. So just because we saw something in the past, it doesn't guarantee the exact same thing's going to happen in the future. But it is at least worth pointing out all of the similarities that we have between now and what we saw back in the middle of last year, just so we can see what is at least possible for Bitcoin moving forward and where we could possibly bottom out during this correction. And just before we jump into the Bitcoin long positions and the Bitcoin short positions, which are very important charts to pay attention to, I'll just quickly mention that the Bitcoin Fear Ingredient Index is of course still sitting in extreme fear for another day. And if we head over to this chart, this shows the Bitcoin price ever since around 2018 up to the recent price action, and all of these colored dots along the way showing us what the Bitcoin Fear Ingredient Index was doing back in all of this previous price action. And just by looking at this chart, I'm sure you can see that during the time periods we were sitting in extreme fear, pretty much every single one of those time periods were great buying opportunities, and during the time periods that we're sitting in extreme greed, which is the green zone just here, those are usually some of the best times to take some profits off the table, because quite often after we see a lot of extreme greed, some sort of correction or a market crash is just around the corner. But it is the opposite to that when we see extreme fear. Usually when we see extreme fear, which is the darker red just here, that usually means that more gains are potentially on the way over the next few months or so. And we have seen this time and time again for many years now. This is absolutely nothing new. I was telling you all of this back in June and July last year, saying how good of a buying opportunity that was. And of course, you could see how that played out over the next few months. Even at the end of the September correction, I was letting you know that we were sitting in extreme fear, and that usually means we're in a pretty good buying opportunity. And then over the next 1 month, Bitcoin pumped from around 40,000 to almost 70,000 US dollars. And right now, we are currently sitting in extreme fear again, which means I am accumulating Bitcoin right now. I'm just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and holding for the longer term. And it's important to mention that that is not financial advice. I'm not personally telling you to buy into Bitcoin. Of course, you could do what you want with this information, but I'm just letting you know my personal Bitcoin strategy. Now taking a look at the Bitcoin long positions over on the Bitfinex exchange, and this is on the 4-hour time frame. And what we can see here is ever since New Year's Eve, so basically this entire year so far, we have seen a lot of long positions either close or get liquidated. And while this process is happening, while these long positions are closing, that is adding a selling pressure to the Bitcoin price while we are in this process. And for any complete beginners out there, a long position is basically betting on the Bitcoin price going to the upside. So if we're seeing the long positions close, that means less and less people are betting on the price going to the upside, and more people are flipping bearish. And we are also seeing this in the Bitcoin short positions on the same Bitfinex exchange and on the same 4-hour time frame. Right now, the short positions are exploding to the upside. And for any beginners viewers out there, a short position is just the opposite to a long position. So these are people betting on the Bitcoin price going further to the downside. So basically what we are seeing right now is a lot of money flow out of long positions and into short positions, meaning that a lot of people right now in the market are betting on much lower Bitcoin prices. And we saw the exact same thing happen back in June and July 2021. And of course, we were covering this on the channel back then. And so because there is less and less long positions active at the moment and more short positions active at the moment, we are still possibly in the build-up phase to a potential short squeeze. And when talking about a potential short squeeze, we have been looking at this chart right here, which is the estimated leverage ratio. First of all, for any of the new viewers out there, the black line just here is the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame, and the purple line is the estimated leverage ratio, which basically shows us how much leverage people are using in the market right now relative to the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. And usually when we see such a high spike in this estimated leverage ratio, this purple line just here, some sort of leverage squeeze, a flush out of all of this leverage is usually not too far away. And technically this can happen in the form of a long squeeze or a short squeeze. Like for example, at the start of the September correction, we saw a long squeeze, which was basically a massive drop off in this estimated leverage ratio. And that resulted in the Bitcoin price having a crash to the downside. But then in another example, looking at July 2021, we saw the estimated leverage ratio have a major spike to the upside, which resulted in a short squeeze, which meant the Bitcoin price had a major move to the upside not long after that. And one of the key differences between those two different examples was the lead up phase into those examples. So for example, as we were leading into the long squeeze that we saw in September, both the Bitcoin price and the estimated leverage ratio was heading to the upside. But then looking in the second example back in July, we saw the Bitcoin price going to the downside while the estimated leverage ratio was going to the upside. And what we are seeing right now is the Bitcoin price going to the downside while this estimated leverage ratio is going to the upside, just like what we saw back in July. And also there's only 2 more days until the CPI data for December gets released, which will basically update the official inflation rate of the US dollar. And something like this could affect the Bitcoin price, so expect some volatility this week. And as always, if you want to get extra updates just like this throughout the day, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And if you made it this far in the video, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you do not miss out on any of these updates that I post every single day. And also for any new viewers out there, I do have these videos just here that you should be checking out, because these uploads can potentially help you make more money in the crypto markets. And as always, I appreciate all of you support their channel at the moment. I can't thank you enough. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.